Hello, my loves. I'm just going to get comfy here with my blanket because it's a little bit cold. And we are going to talk about what the title says and how this pertains to you and your business. And yeah, let's have a good conversation about it. So as you hop on, say hello, let me know you're here. Let me know if you're catching the live or the replay. As always, I love to see who's here, see who's in my world, and get to know you and connect with you. So it's the Scorpio new moon today, and I'm a Scorpio. You probably know that by now. I talk about that quite a bit. So I'm really feeling this energy, and I'm assuming that if you're sensitive and you're in my world, you're feeling it too. And today just felt like a really good time to talk about some of the stuff that Scorpio will bring up for us. So Scorpio is all about going beneath the surface. It's about the underworld. It's about shadow. Like definitely I would classify my work as shadow work for sure. Like working a lot with the subconscious, working with, healing trauma, healing some of these things that don't look and sound so pretty, but it's really, when you do this, it's how you reclaim your power. It's how you really operate from a space of wholeness instead of abandoning yourself. I see someone's just hopping on, but it doesn't show me who, so say hello in the comments so I can see who's here with me. Welcome. And hopefully the comments show up, and hopefully it lets me save it, because it didn't let me save my video from my last live, so we'll see. Fingers crossed for all the tech things. So yeah, this is a topic, this is a big part of my journey. If you've been following me for a while, you've heard me talk about this. I'm someone who experienced a lot of severe trauma, and it was systematic ever since I was a child. And it's something that I feel so called to speak up about, because it's something that I don't see a whole lot of coaches talking about. And, I think there's some fear, not fear, but just people maybe a little apprehensive to talk about it, because we don't want to come from a victim space, right? Like I know for me with my clients, I never want to hold someone in a victim pattern. I never want to be dwelling on the problem, but there are things that need to be addressed. And there's a lot of things that I think just get glossed over. There's a lot of watered down coaching containers. I mean, let me know if you've experienced that before. I know I've been very disappointed, especially earlier in my journey, in a lot of the coaching programs and even like one-on-one mentoring that I received, because they just weren't able to hold space for me to go deep enough. And I'm going to also kind of dispel some of this, because it doesn't have to have been since you were a child, right? So there are some ways that trauma patterns can show up, and they're holding you back in your business, in your life, in your health. And we're going to talk about that too, because if you're drawn to click on this, there's a message for you here for sure, and I want you to receive it. But specifically when we're talking about childhood trauma, this is a way that will really hold you back, and it's going to be hard for you to see it because it's so ingrained in your way of operating that you don't even see it. So that's a big part of my work. Okay, so yeah, let me know in the comments below on the replay. Let me know how you're feeling. Are you feeling the energy of this new moon? What have you been feeling like is coming up for you to deal with that you're not really sure how to shift it? Like, let me know if you feel comfortable sharing it in the comments, because I would love to help you shift and have like a little mini breakthrough just from this. Okay, so let's talk about trauma patterns just in general, not specific to if you experienced a lot of trauma as a child. Let's just talk about trauma patterns, things that may have traumatized you just from being a human, that may be showing up for you. Okay, so some of the most common ones I see are just like, you doubt yourself, right? You doubt yourself because we're taught from a young age to give our power away. Think about it. In school, we're not taught how to access our own truth. We're told, here's a problem and this is the answer. Memorize this. And all of our energy is put into memorizing things instead of like getting clear about our truth and learning how to access that. So this is a big part of my message, right? I don't mind me being cozy over here, guys. I have my heat on, it's just not kicking in yet. A big part of my message is, and the work I'm here to do, is to help you reconnect with the infinite intelligence within you. You have direct access to anything you need at any point. So when I tell you that you hold the key, that the key to unlocking your abundance is you, that everything you need to succeed is within you, I really freaking mean it. Like, it's not something I'm just saying. I mean it, because it's true. it's just can feel difficult because we're not taught to do this, and instead we're taught and programmed to do a lot of different things, to always be looking outside of us for the answer, to think that we're going to find it in a textbook or on Google or in a 10-step proven method formula, right? Like, so it's not that it's difficult to look within, it's just like a lot of unlearning, a lot of deconditioning, a lot of deprogramming that we need to do. So that's one way, just in general, you know, where we're kind of traumatized because we think that there's an answer outside of us. We think that we're separate from what we want. And so it keeps us in this kind of frantic searching energy. Let me know if that resonates with you. So that's one way that like a trauma pattern shows up. We're always looking for the answers outside of ourselves, and that's really going to slow you down, especially when you're in your soul work, because you are here to teach something that's specific to you and your soul. And I'm not saying that certain strategies won't help you. I'm not saying that, you know, you don't need to take action. Of course you do. And yeah, you're going to work with mentors and be like, this was great, this wasn't great. I'm going to like make my own little combination and add in this flair and do it my way, like perfect. But like, you have to trust yourself, and you have to know how to access more of that from within you instead of from outside of yourself. And that's a big energy leak. We were talking about that. My friend Alexandra, we did a live together a couple weeks ago. If you scroll down on my profile, you'll see it. If you haven't checked that out, check it out, because we were talking in that live a lot about how we just are conditioned to give our power away, and it really slows things down for you. And big part of collapsing time and quantum leaping and all the things, right, is to really take your power back. So that's like what I would refer to as a trauma response, of always looking outside of yourself and just always assuming that you're wrong, like never trusting yourself. That's traumatizing, not trusting in yourself, right? And that's going to cause a lot of anxiety. It's going to cause a lot of misalignment. It's going to cause you to take a lot of actions that aren't actually true to you, because it's what you think you should be doing. You're constantly looking outside of yourself. You're constantly comparing yourself because you don't trust yourself. Let me have a sip of my water and see what wants to come through next. This is totally like unstructured, guys. I'm just intuitively going to free flow here with you guys. I just knew I kind of wanted to talk about this topic, but I don't have any set bullet points or anything, so bear with me. So like always looking outside of ourselves. Another way that this can be programmed from society is, you know, we're bombarded constantly with being told that we're not enough. So not only are the answers outside of us, you're not enough. So we're really taught to like numb out a lot of the time, to really just always escape and look outside of ourselves. I don't think I need to go deeper into that. I think you're intuitive. You can see how that's happening. So these are patterns that may be coming up, and these are always areas where you can go deeper in. And I want to talk now, I want to transition now specifically into those of you who've experienced systematic trauma or abuse since you were a child, because this really shapes you, and there's a lot of healing and deconditioning and like reclaiming your power that you get to do. You 100% get to thrive. Everyone does. And in fact, I find sometimes the people who are here to facilitate the biggest changes, the biggest shifts, and like have the, oh my God, how does she do that, are the ones who go through like the most challenging childhood. So it's actually a blessing, depending on where you're at on your journey. That may not be fun to hear, but at the end of the day, like, it's up to you to learn how to take your power back. So I want to talk about this a little bit and shed some light on this, because I'm just getting the vibe that collectively this is what's going to be going on for a lot of people. I see people on here, but I'm not seeing any comments, and it's not showing me who's here. So feel free to interact and say hello. I would love to have a beautiful conversation. So if any of this is landing, or you have questions or something you'd like to add, feel free to put it in the comments, and hopefully the comments show up. Okay, so I guess maybe like the best way for me to segue into this is I'll just kind of share with you a few of the ways that this showed up for me and blocked me, and you can see how this resonates with you. And I'm hoping by sharing some of my story, it's going to kind of maybe give you an aha moment, kind of help you open your eyes to maybe where you're holding yourself back. A lot of these themes are very similar with people who've experienced this. So we already kind of touched on the self-trust thing. I think this is the biggest thing. This is the biggest thing I see holding people back in general, whether or not you've experienced like severe childhood trauma, or just like some of the like basic traumas of being a human that we talked about in the beginning, right? We've all had things. And trauma is a tricky subject to talk about because it's really subjective, right? I've spoken on this before. It could be as little as like you got bullied on the playground when you were a toddler, right? Like someone stole your toy. Or it could be like a systematic thing where you grew up maybe with a narcissistic parent, or you were constantly abused or like heavily criticized. For me, that was my experience, where it was like, you know, I was the scapegoat of the family. I'm the one who's here to break a lot of these generational patterns. So I feel like I got it definitely, like if you're looking surface level, I got it the hardest. And I really believe that was to help me really step into my power in a deeper way, and to really, really heal a lot of this at a root level, right? But I grew up very abused physically, emotionally, a lot of other ways too. And what this did was it made me feel like something was wrong with me. So as children, you know, we don't have the capacity to understand that the ways other people are hurting us or misusing their power is because of their own issues, right? As children, we think the whole world revolves around us. So where this can go wrong is when you're being abused systematically, or constantly criticized or told you're wrong, or like if you're the scapegoat and you're getting blamed for your parents' financial issues or their marital issues or whatever, or just like you're brought up in a very stressful, unsafe, unstable environment, you tend to think it's about you. And especially if you're highly sensitive, you're taking all of that energy on. And then take it a step further. If you are being gaslit all the time and blamed all the time and criticized and punished, like you are getting the direct message that something's wrong with you, that it's your fault. And this is something that's really hard to heal, right? Because it goes deep. This is something for me that I still heal more layers of this like all the time, and it's always shocking to me. And the thing is though, I've seen other women who did not have any type of that abuse, but they got the same message just from society, or maybe an absent parent, or maybe you grew up with a parent who was really anxious and they just weren't able to really hold the space for you to feel seen, right? So maybe you just used to feeling ignored or not seen or not heard. There can be a lot of ways that this plays out. Guys, I don't see any comments. I don't know if you're commenting, but really like feel free to chime in or like say hello or anything. I see now it's showing me Candace is on. Hello, Candace. Sometimes it shows me when people hop on, sometimes it doesn't. But I really like to, you know, I don't want to just talk at the camera, so feel free to say hello and interact. Let me know if this is resonating. So yeah, it's like this wound of not trusting ourselves. And for me, this was huge. And this was like, it shows up in so many things, right? I wrote a post about this the other day. I'm someone who, because of all the trauma, all the abuse, all the anxiety, all of the things, my nervous system was really fried. It's in my family, a lot of these like medical conditions that I know energetically. I can see the patterns of why they're there, and that's something that I've healed on my own, and I know that's something like generational that I'm healing. But like, you know, it fried my nervous system. I was always like wired and scared and looking for danger and just like never feeling safe. I didn't know another way to be. I always just was assuming I was wrong. I felt like my body didn't support me because I had chronic pain. I had chronic digestive issues. It got worse and worse and worse, because when we have symptoms that are showing up in our bodies, that's really a sign of energetic misalignment, because nothing can manifest in the physical if it hasn't been held energetically first. So when we're having a lot of pain or like these chronic conditions that won't go away, or they're getting worse, typically they get worse, it's literally your body's trying to get your attention, like, hey, there's misalignment going on. You're not being true to you. You know, the anxiety comes when we're believing something that's not true. That's point blank what it is. It's we feel anxious, we feel that split energy, we feel like that tightness in the chest, the tightness, the stress in the body, when we're believing something that's not in alignment with our soul. It's not in alignment with love, right? So of course, as a child, you know, like you're in you know, you're a pure divine being, whether you're a child or an adult, but like as a child you have more of an innate knowing that you're good, right? Like you don't have all this programming and conditioning. You haven't gone through life and like made a bunch of mistakes or something where you feel like you can blame yourself. So when you're a child and you are looking at the world around you trying to make sense of it, and you're either being told that things are your fault or you're picking up the message subconsciously that maybe it's your fault, it really makes it hard for you to trust yourself. So for me, you know, I had to really learn how to trust myself in a lot of things. I had to learn how to trust myself when I was healing my body. I love talking about this because this was one of my favorite things I manifested. Was I healed a lot of chronic conditions in my body. I had chronic pain in my body. I was told I was going to need knee surgery when I was in high school. Like I had chronic back, neck, shoulder pain, like really intense, chronic digestive issues. I struggled with cystic acne as like I think from like end of high school up until my mid 20s. The digestive issues turned in, they were like, oh, it's IBS, we don't know what it is. Of course, it's stress, right? That then turned into an autoimmune and just like everything. And I was allergic to all of the foods and just everything felt so frustrating. And I was going to all of these specialists doing everything to heal and nothing was working. I would get a little bit of relief here and there, but it was like so much effort. And at the end of the day, what I was called to do was really trust myself and trust what I knew about energy, that, you know, none of these symptoms would show up in my body physically if there was an energetic misalignment. So I had to really trust myself with that and trust that I knew what was right for me and really learn intuitive eating, really, you know, deprogram from a lot of that food, like fear around food. There were a lot of things. But yeah, so that's how it showed up in my health. And this also showed up for me big time in my business, right? I had to trust myself to step into my soul work. I had to trust myself to run my business the way I wanted to run it, to price things the way that felt correct, to teach what I actually wanted to teach, not what I thought I should teach. There was a lot of it. I had a lot of trust around people and connections. Yeah, let's go there because this was a big one for me too. Especially like if you've experienced childhood trauma, it's like the people who are supposed to be keeping you safe and loving you and nurturing you, if they weren't in whatever way, it makes you feel like you can't trust people. And then what happens, what we don't realize, is that this is kind of becoming our energetic set point. So especially if you're sensitive and you're not knowing how to clear your energy, you're taking on all of this, you're making it mean something about you, and you're kind of walking around, you're like walking around in the world feeling like something's wrong with you and really afraid to show up because you're afraid to be criticized, you're afraid to be abused, you're afraid to be lied to, whatever. Like, and because you're in that contracted state, you're actually an energetic match to other people who are operating at a really low level as well. So you are having a very real experience be repeated of people who can't be trusted, of people who are like, it's a dog world and competition, and, you know, women who are jealous and men who don't respect you. And, you know, people, you know, if you're in your business, is like maybe you're attracting clients who don't show up or clients who don't have the money to pay you, whatever. Like you're an energetic match to people that you can't trust and being let down by people. So this was a big part of my healing, and it's something I still work on healing, if I'm really honest, of like really trusting yourself. And where this is tricky, okay, let's talk about the trauma again. I feel like I'm going on a tangent, guys, so like feel free to comment if this is resonating or you have questions. You know, not trusting others is actually deeper of not trusting yourself. But when you've experienced trauma, especially at a young age, what I see happen with a lot of people is you kind of separate, you kind of split your energy because it doesn't feel safe to be you, because you feel like something's wrong with you. Also on like a physical level, like if you're being physically abused or sexually abused or anything like that, like it's very common for you to kind of like leave your body. You very much disconnect from your body. This is why I was telling the whole body story. I did a longer post kind of explaining the ins and out of that, of like how reconnecting my body was a big part of me healing all of my conditions and learning to trust myself and really reconnect with my soul. So like after this, if you want to scroll down and check that out, you can check that out. But you know, we disconnect. We disconnect from ourselves because it doesn't feel safe to be in our bodies. It doesn't feel safe to be with us. It definitely doesn't feel safe to look at our shadow, which, hello, is like the bulk of my work for a real reason. And because of that, we can really be like so outwardly focused. We're always scanning for danger. And this can also translate to like really judging people, to like always be looking for what's wrong with someone because we're trying to protect ourselves, because we're convinced that everyone's going to hurt us, which is a very real experience. Is this making sense how it's all connected energetically? But see, when you're operating from that space, it's really going to hold you back. And especially in your business, it's going to hold you back in your health, right? If you're not present in your body, you're not going to be able to heal your body. You're not going to be able to connect with your intuition. You're not trusting yourself. And so this is a way that when we're splitting, when we're kind of like hiding from ourselves, essentially, because it doesn't feel safe to be ourselves, it will be very outwardly focused. And it's almost to get you from reconnecting with you because that doesn't feel safe. So what was coming up for me kind of collectively when I was tuning in and feeling called to come on here was that we're being asked to look at our shadow with a little more radical honesty, essentially. So what I mean by that is perhaps you are looking outside of yourself and judging people and situations, and it's really mirroring to you how you're judging yourself. So look at what's triggering you. What's triggering you in your business, in your life, in your body, in other people, in your relationships? And be really radically honest with yourself. Like, where are you hyper focusing on that to avoid looking at you? Because I can promise you, it's actually a projection. So like I said, there's the real experience of when you're holding a certain energetic frequency, like obviously you're a match to people holding that too. And when you're in this contracted state of I can't trust people, you're actually typically attracting people that you can't trust. So that's a very real lived experience. But at the same time, all of that comes up is actually an opportunity for you to see where you're not trusting yourself. I did a reading for Scorpio season. It's on my YouTube channel. If you feel called, you can check that out. The link's in my bio. And some of the cards that came up, some of the messages that was coming through for that, and I'm kind of feeling a similar theme here too coming through, is, when we don't trust others, is actually pointing to how we don't trust ourselves. So yes, there's the real experience of when we're in a certain energy and we have certain expectations and we have like these subconscious beliefs about life and ourselves and the world and what shows up for us. And especially when this goes back to childhood, that's ingrained deep. You don't see it. It's subconscious. It's in your blind spot. That's attracting on that level. But at the same time, it goes a little bit deeper. And this is where you're being called to go a little bit deeper and be really honest with yourself about whatever's triggering you. Like, what's it actually showing you about you? Because even deeper than that, and this is what came up in the reading, is that, you can't control people. Even when you expand and you're holding a bigger energy and you're, if you want to say raising your vibration, but I like to say like a bigger energy, and you're allowing more goodness in, there's still going to be people who let you down. There's still going to be people who are dealing with their own things, who are learning just like you, who, their shadow isn't fully integrated. And when we make that mean something about us, that really takes us out of our power. So it's like, do you trust yourself enough that you're going to trust in your goodness even if someone else can't see it? Do you trust yourself to be strong enough in yourself that you can handle if someone's not perfect? Does this make sense? Is this landing? I would love to know. So there's just layers to the not trusting yourself. And I do find that it always goes back to, whatever we're projecting out is actually really a place, it's an opportunity for us to hold the mirror and see where we're not trusting ourselves. And that's something that, again, specifically related to if you've gone through a lot of trauma or abuse as a child, that feels like the most scary thing to do. Sitting with yourself feels so unsafe. And that's a big part of the work I do, is holding the space for you, whether it's in my mastermind or when we work together one-on-one, because what we don't realize when we have these trauma patterns running is that when we don't see them, and we're so busy, our mind is so busy holding our perception of the world in place, that it takes up a lot of energy and we're not able to see deeper. We're not able to see beyond a certain point. And this is where, I know the women who come into my world do the work. I know you do the work, but we get to a point where there's a plateau, and when we're feeling like there's a glass ceiling and I don't see it, when you can have someone hold space for you It allows you to free up some of that energy to go deeper. And then also, you know, my gifts are I can help you see exactly what's going on energetically and help you see, like, you know, where you're holding yourself back, where you're playing small. So one of the things coming up is like, what's really triggering you? Because I know with these energies, like, you're probably going to feel triggered. So what's triggering you in other people, in your outer reality, and where is that actually holding the mirror for you of like where you get to trust yourself more? Okay, so that's a question you could ask yourself. Another question you could ask yourself is like, whatever it is that you're looking to create right now that maybe you feel a little blocked towards, ask yourself why it's not safe for you to have it or receive it. That was the other one that was coming up. And so, hello, Elise. It's showing me that you're hopping on. Sometimes it shows me the names and then sometimes it doesn't. So when I see a name, I'm going to say hi, but feel free to say hello too if you're watching and I haven't seen your name. So where are you not trusting yourself? And the thing that you really want that's feeling difficult for you, that you're feeling like you're having a glass ceiling around, like, why don't you feel safe to have it? This is going to, again, take you back to self-trust. Welcome, Elise. I'm glad the comments are showing up. Yay. And let me know if this is resonating, and let me know if you have a question or something you want to add, because this is totally, like I said, today I just didn't have any, I had like zero plan or anything for this other than I just kind of wanted to talk about this topic and see what wanted to come up. Hello, Shaya. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Let me know. You said you love this. Thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, Scorpio energy is all about shadow, and that's totally my vibe, because, you know, our shadow essentially is these parts of ourselves that we abandon because we're afraid there's something wrong with it. And what it's doing is this illusion of that there's something wrong with you, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. What it does is it keeps you from looking at the deeper issues, which keeps you ultimately from like operating from a space of wholeness. It keeps your energy split. And it makes things a lot harder than it needs to be. When we can just be brave and look at our shadow and be really radically honest with ourselves about what's going on, like what's the actual fear here, it loses so much of its power. And you're taking your power back. And I think a lot of us who have experienced a lot of trauma from a young age, it's just this like fear that really maybe doesn't fully have a name, right? It's just this fear that something's wrong and you don't know what, and you feel it in your body. You feel like you're tense all the time and you don't know why, or you're just like afraid. This can show up. So like for me, how this showed up too, especially in my business, was I either didn't take the actions that I knew I needed to take because I was so afraid that someone was going to tell me I was wrong, or, you know, I think that was just the thing, because I was always told I was wrong. So I was so afraid. So sometimes I didn't take action because I didn't want to embarrass myself. I didn't want someone to tell me I was wrong. And then when I was taking action in the areas I was taking action, I was totally overdoing it because I was trying to be above reproach. I had in my mind that there was right or wrong, because that's always what I was told. But that's a way that you keep yourself anchored in that 3D paradigm. Let's just segue into that for a little bit, because this is a big part of my work. So when I think of 3D paradigm and I talk about that, I think of specifically with business or just life in general, it's struggle. It's either or. It's a very contracted energy. It's where I would say the majority of the world operates from at the moment, of believing that there's always a consequence or a sacrifice. Like, you can't really have what you want. You can't have it all. Oh, I can't do this because of this. And this is where you'll be able to find some of those untrue stories going on of, oh, it's not safe for me to succeed. It's not safe for me to be seen. It's not safe for me to raise my prices. It's not safe for whatever, because of, and then there's like a little hidden lie in there. And that's the 3D paradigm of never fully stepping into your power, compartmentalizing your life, not getting everything aligned and operating from that pure space within you. And all of that is rooted in lack, essentially, which is rooted in fear, which is rooted in a lie. And typically that lie is that there's something in you that's not good. And especially if you've experienced trauma, it's just like your body's just wired like this. And there's a lot of healing of the nervous system, of the mind, of the heart, the emotions that needs to happen. Does that make sense? So when we want to be more expanded, when we want to go to like that 5D, what that is it's not split energy anymore. It's recognizing that everything's connected, not just you and your health and your body and your business and your money and your relationships. Like, that's all connected, but so are you with everyone else. So it's like being able to see how things are connected. It's kind of like how, is it, I think it's Neville Goddard who talks about how everyone's you pushed out, like really taking radical responsibility for your experience and what's showing up. And we can't do that if we're hiding from ourselves. We can't do that if we're afraid to sit in our shadow, right? 3D is, there's a lot of fear. There's a separation. There's the like, oh, this part of me that I have to abandon and run away from because I'm afraid it's not good. 5D is like, no, it's like all of it's good, all of it's God, all of it's perfect. And when you operate from that space of wholeness, you're really expanding your energy. You can receive a lot more and you can hold it more. So another sign that you're maybe operating your business out of 3D, out of like, maybe you're splitting your energy, maybe you're not fully trusting yourself, you're not believing you can have it all, is, you know, maybe you pull in a lot of money, you get a lot of clients, but it feels like this never ending thing where like you can't take a break, you don't trust that it will keep showing up, or like maybe your money runs out really quickly. I operated that way for years. Like even before I had my business, you know, I worked in an industry where I actually made really good money. I was having like anywhere from like 10 to 20K months at a very young age, but I always was broke. I always was broke because I just didn't have the capacity within me to hold it. My nervous system wasn't calm. I couldn't hold it. I had a lot of self-sabotaging patterns going on because I didn't feel good, because I never sat with myself, because I just was wired that way. I just didn't know what I didn't know. So when we really want to expand the way you're operating, when we want things to be easy, when you want to experience true abundance, when you want it to be stable, like you really want to create stability in your world, stability in your income, like it never dips below a certain point and it's always increasing. The clients are always coming. You're operating your business in a way that feels good to you. Your health is on point, right? Like you're not having the chronic conditions anymore because you're not stressed, right? Like all of this requires you to really be operating from a pure space. We need to really look at where you're holding yourself back. Where are you not sitting with yourself? Like really, are you embodying your work, right? Like, so a big part of that is like working with your nervous system, because it's where a lot of people in this online space really limit themselves, is they know a lot, right? They're really smart. Like, you know this, you've been taking all the courses, you've been doing all the things, but are you actually landing in your body? Are you actually trusting yourself? Are you actually calm? Or are you operating from this frantic space? These are all things that you can take a look at and be really honest with yourself and see what wants to come up. And just something I'll interject in here for those of you who are like the personal development queens who do all the things, who do the work all the time, I invite you to go deeper. So whatever you think the issue is, go deeper and ask yourself. So this is something I teach my clients, because I can help you see how you're holding yourself back. I can hold this space for you. I can do all the things. Like, I'm amazing at that, but I also want to really empower you to know how to do this for yourself, because I don't want people to have to keep hiring me. I want women to, you know, like, sure, maybe you sign up for a program with me or one-on-one because you know you need the help, you know you're blocking yourself some way, and I can help you shift that. But I don't want to just help you shift it and then you're dependent on me. I want to give you the tools to help you be really freaking self-sufficient and really sovereign, so that then if you do resign, it's because you're just like, wow, we can do this so much faster together, right? Not because you need it. So for those of you who are already on top of your game and you know you're just holding yourself back and you can't really see why, what I want you to do as you're sitting in this energy and playing with it is like, ask yourself what's holding you back in whatever area it is, and write out, you know, if you're going to journal, I like journaling for this, what you think it is. And then ask yourself, say higher self, soul, energy, however you connect, be like, what's really going on here? And hold this space for it. And what I find is that when we try to, sometimes the answer will come right away and it's something that you don't want it to be, or it's something that you're like, that makes no sense, thought I cleared that, trust it. And then sometimes the answer doesn't come right away. So don't force it, be okay with it. The way I like to, I'm giving you guys like some of my best tools right now. One of the ways I like to do this is if I can't figure it out, that's typically like I'm too in my mind, I'll just go for a walk. I'll drink a lot of water. I'll make a cup of tea or something, like hydrate my body and go move my body. And then usually the answer will come up like very quickly. I would say within like about 30 minutes, I get the answer. And, you know, don't dismiss it, whatever it is, because that's how the mind will trick you. The mind will keep you really stuck sometimes thinking that you know what the problem is, but it's always deeper. Because if you really knew what the problem was, you would have shifted it already, right? Or sometimes it will come up and it will be annoying because it's something you think you've dealt with already. But there's always more layers to this. And this is like just proof right here that you're never perfectly healed so long as you're a human. So for any of you who are feeling like, let's just dispel this belief right here too, that you need to be perfect to whatever your next level is. Like maybe you're desiring your breakthrough in your health. Maybe you're desiring breakthrough in your next income level, or you're wanting to raise your prices, or you're just like, but you have this belief going on of, I need to be perfectly healed for that. Like, no, you don't. You just need to see where you're holding yourself back. You need to take a look at where you're not fully trusting yourself. Why doesn't it feel safe? And when you think you've found the answer, be willing to go a little bit deeper. Let me see if I'm missing any comments. You guys are quiet, but there's a couple of you on here, so I'm hoping this was resonating, and I hope this was helpful. So yeah, I'm sending you guys a lot of love. I know lately I feel like there's a lot energetically shifting as we close out this year, really getting us to do this deeper inner work. Because guys, we're being called as spiritual leaders to really operate from this higher frequency, this bigger frequency, right? Like cutting the ties to the 3D that tell us we need to suffer, that we need to choose, that it needs to take a long time, that we need to follow a formula, like all of this stuff that someone outside of us knows better. We are really being called to step the F up and cut those ties. And so a lot of things are going to be coming up that are uncomfortable, but it's up to us to shift it. And I promise you, everything you want is on the other side. You 100% get to have it all, and you have everything within you already. It's a matter of, are you going to choose to access it? Let me read this comment here. It's very helpful. Thank you. Every blessing to you. I agree. So much is shifting exponentially. Yes, it is. You're welcome, and thank you for being here, and I'm glad it resonated. So my loves, I will share with you briefly how you can work with me if this is something you're interested in receiving further support with. So I have my mastermind, which I have kind of rebranded because it's just kind of exploded in like the potency of it and the direction my work's gone. It is Wealthy Woman Revolution. It was previously Desire Queen, but Wealthy Woman Revolution, because what I fully stand for is women who are here to bring in this new paradigm, women who are done choosing, they're done sacrificing, they're done holding themselves back, they're done thinking that there's rules they need to follow. They're really here to thrive in every single area of their lives, in their money, in their business, in their relationships, in their health, in all the ways. And they're feeling the call to really step up. And so it doesn't really matter what you're looking to shift. I do work with women who are in their soul work, so likely there's both. But you know, a lot of women who come to me, they're also looking to shift their health, because these things are also connected. So if you know that you are really looking for a breakthrough, you know you're the one holding yourself back, and you really want to tap more into you, and you want to give yourself more permission to just play bigger, to bust through those glass ceilings, to really like learn how to trust yourself, really rewrite the rules for yourself so that you can explode your business, your impact, your income, your health, just your freedom, like really allow your soul to be perfectly expressed. This is the work I do. So Wealthy Woman Revolution is my mastermind. It's 6 weeks. It's beautiful. There's more details. I will link it in the comments below when I hop off, so you can take a look at the page and see. The page is pretty thorough, so it should show you everything. But this is where I really help you stop being stuck between worlds, essentially. Like, you know, cut through the BS, the programming, the anxiety, the doubt, the fear, all of the things that are keeping you anchored to this old way of being that you see very clearly is not in alignment with where your soul is calling you. This is for you if you're looking for more money. This is for you if you're looking to expand your business and your impact. This is for you if you are looking to heal your body too. This is for you if if you know you have some nervous system healing to do, right? this is for you if any of that's resonating with you. So that's a 6-week mastermind I have, and then I also have the option to work with me one-on-one for either 6 or 12 weeks, and I will link that below as well. So those are my current offers. If none of that is like where you're at right now, but you would like to be in my world and still learn, I do have a couple self-paced programs. I will link those as well. I typically don't link them, but everything's like linked in my bio. You can check that out. But, those are the foundations of what I teach. I have emotional rehab, which is where I walk you through, understanding how to break these self-sabotaging cycles and clear some of these trauma responses and behaviors, really the emotional intelligence. I have radiant confidence, where that's like the stuff I led myself through in the beginning of my journey to really align and get clear on like who I am. Those were the steps I took that really got me clear on what my soul work was. So like if you're catching this and you're like, yeah, I'm not there for mastermind or one-on-one, you could check out the self-paced programs too. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this today. Just being radically honest with yourself, guys. Like nothing will shift more quickly for you. And I know so much more can shift when you have support, when you're either in a group setting or you have one-on-one support. A lot more can shift. So if that's something you're desiring, check out those offers. If you're ready for any of those, go ahead and send me a DM and we'll get everything squared away or answer any questions you may have. So I am sending you love. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for connecting with me, and I will talk with you soon. Bye.